what was your inspiration behind the Furry Treat? It's like a tour, right?
Well, because so many people are living in cars. They have no money. They're destitute. They're living so right on the edge, paycheck to paycheck. And I remember being in that situation when I was younger. When I was younger on my spiritual path, I'm lucky I made it, because there was no help for me. There was no internet and YouTube videos even back then. And there was no free help. And so, and if you didn't have money, then there wasn't going to be anybody who helps you on your spiritual path. And I just don't feel right about that. I feel that spiritual teachers who make some money in some way, if they can give back a little bit, they can pay it forward. And because this is not an era for making money. This is not about making money in this era. This era is make it or break it for humanity, because if we don't change, we don't get to stay on this planet. So my goal is to make sure that no one's left behind because of money. That just really upsets me, because I almost got left behind because of money. People committing suicide or severe depression who can't earn the money, because some people say, oh, equal energy exchange, and just they have to come up with the money, otherwise they don't value it and stuff. What if they can't? What if they just can't? When I was living in a car or living in the wilderness, penniless, trying to find my way through all the trauma and the tragedy, I wasn't going to be able to earn money and pay somebody big bucks for a course or something. I wasn't going to be able to do that.
Did you have someone who stepped in and kind of took your hand, or how did you get out of that?
No, I had to do it alone. It was a time of doing it all alone, because there weren't the self-help books back then. I mean, we're talking about the 80s, and there was maybe 100 titles in the world at the time. There were metaphysical bookstores were just these little hole-in-the-wall places that were the size of a closet, and there was maybe 100 books in there. And none of them addressed, they were all hearts and flowers, think good thoughts, and everything's going to be okay. There was nothing that addressed trauma or dealing with abuse or suicide. There just wasn't anything there. And I couldn't afford self-help books. I had to kind of steal them from the libraries. But I had to, the only way to fix it was to go into the wilderness. And my plan was to just go into the wilderness. My plan was to do a vision quest for about 6 months. I was going to be in the wilderness for 6 months. And I thought, okay, I'll find myself. And because I was starting to make it in the music world, I had a rock and roll band. I was a lead guitar player. I was the only chick lead guitar player in the 80s.
You're awesome.
Yeah, and people, I was getting a following, but I got a stalker, and it got kind of weird, and I was like, well, I'm going to take a break from this. I'm not sure this is really what I want. And I was touring on the East Coast, and it was fun. It was great. I love rock and roll, and I love turning that amp up to 11, but if it can go to 11. And without a whammy bar and a wah-wah pedal, I'm missing half my vocabulary, so I like that too. So there's another side of me that's not all peace and love. I like to get gritty and down sometimes with the music.
I mean, you need that balance, right?
Yeah, you need that outlet. You need a place to express these other sides of ourselves. And I'm a quadruple Gemini, so there's a lot of sides. So
it's like a positive outsource for maybe energies that, need to, you can't repress everything, or you shouldn't repress everything. Yeah.
Right. Well, so 6 months in the wilderness turned into 6 years. I was like, there was so much to heal, and doing it alone, it's harder. It is harder, and it takes longer. And there just were no spiritual teachers back then who could understand me. There weren't really spiritual teachers back then. Now spiritual teachers, it's like a dime a dozen. They're all over the place, and half of them are 15 years old now. They're young. Everybody and his brother is a spiritual teacher now.
Yeah, I remember, like, even when I was 18, that's when I started my own spiritual journey, and it was hard to even, like, I didn't know where, there was the books, but I wanted someone who would be able to, like, guide me through the process. And that was, now there are coaches that you can go to and whoever you need to find help.
Well, these resources are really good now because it has shortened the path. It's shortened the healing path. It took me a long time because I had to do it alone. There just wasn't the help. There weren't the spiritual teachers. There was no internet. There was no YouTube. There was nothing for free. And now the spiritual path, I would say it probably cut the time to a quarter of what it used to take to reach a place of healing. And I want to be part of that and help anybody who's on that path with the free retreats, and also the paid stuff is really good too. So I just feel that's my inspiration, is that I just want no soul left behind, and that when I get on the other side, I want to be able to say I did everything that I could, even for the poor people who didn't have the money to give to make a spiritual teacher wealthy. I just think there's something wrong with that these days.
Yeah, that's a beautiful purpose.
Yeah, I mean, I keep very little. $1 million a year moves through my hands, but I keep $380 a month stipend, and I don't have to pay rent, and all my food is taken care of. So, but I could pay myself $100,000 a year if I wanted to, or more. But it just doesn't feel right to me. There's something that doesn't feel right about that. And if I have needs taken care of, my needs are taken care of, and I live a good life. And I do think that people who are in the business of spirituality should be comfortable. I don't have any problem with that. I think that we should be comfortable. I think that we should be happy so that we can be able to do our work in a good way. But the disgusting amount of wealth and millions of dollars in a bank account, there's something wrong with that.
Yeah, some kind of service back to the people. And
yeah. And if you're getting millions, then give something back.
Yeah, give something back.
So I'm trying to start a trend.
It's a good trend to start.
I hope that I can shame other people who are making a lot of money in the spiritual business into doing something for free for the people who can't afford it.
Yeah.
We'll see.
And
the dog says yes.
So what is your life like now that you're living in alignment with your purpose and living your dreams?
Say again?
Are you living your dreams? Like, what is your life like now that you're living in alignment with your purpose?
Well, yeah, I'm living my dreams. Hello, Bodhi. Hello. My dog came to say hi. Sorry about that. Yes, I'm living my dreams. I didn't realize it was going to be so much work. I might not have signed up for it if I knew how much work it is. So there's a reason why Spirit doesn't show you everything that you're going to be doing. It's on an as need to know basis. And a lot of people say, well, why don't I know what my purpose is and what I'm supposed to be doing? Why can't I see the whole picture? Because you might not sign up if you knew the whole thing, if you knew how much work it's going to be. It is a lot of work once you give your life to divine service, Spirit goes, we got a hot one. All right, we're going to work them hard. And because there's a lot of work to do. There's a lot to do in this world to change it. This is a big undertaking. This is no small matter. To change this world, to take it out of the old paradigm, this is something needs a lot of hands. And no one person can save the world by themselves. It's going to take all of us. And if everybody does their part and touches the part of the universe that they can reach, then that's going to change the world. And so when Spirit sees a person who wants to give their life to divine service, first you get small things to do. First you get small tasks. it's one step at a time, and it starts small. And in fact, I would suggest to people, just start small. Offer a free meditation class in your community. Offer a free something. Just hone your skills as the young Jedis that you are, and hone your skills and practice. And then Spirit's like, okay, you did that well. We're going to give you something a little bigger now. And then you do that well, and you get something bigger, and you get something bigger. And I started a journey of 1,000 miles starts with the first step. And the day that I decided to give my life to divine service, I was living in a purple car, actually. I had a wild beginning, let's just say that. I was living in a car with $50 to my name. And Spirit said, okay, you want to give your life to divine service? You give up all your human goals? Then look across the street. Here's your first assignment. And I saw a bunch of homeless people trying to find a cigarette on the ground and get the last couple hits out of it, and right near a store. And so I went into the store, and with my $50, I spent about 10 of it and bought a couple of packs of cigarettes and went out and started giving them to the people on the street, and just sitting and talking with them and listening to their stories and asking questions about, well, what would you do if, or this or that, and started to maybe try to, without being obnoxious, get them to dream a little. Like, well, if you had $1 billion, what would you be doing with your life? And, ooh, some of them had really beautiful ideas and beautiful plans with their life. So that's how it starts. You decide to be in divine service, and then Spirit says, all right, look around for all your assignments. They're everywhere. Every day, look for somebody to help. Look for somebody to bless and be the master, passing out darshan in this world. And for instance, at the supermarket, sometimes I'll hold on to the money just for a moment till the cashier girl looks up, and I say, did anybody tell you to have a good day? And sometimes I get one of two reactions. Some are like, no, thank you so much. I just really want to say I appreciate what you're doing. I know you're probably tired and you would rather be doing something else, but I just want to say thank you for your work. And that really is just like passing out a blessing to a person in such a simple way. It doesn't cost any money to do your life purpose, to do your mission, which is to basically be love walking around in this world, being like rain, blessing and cleaning and filling the empty places. And I get another reaction. Sometimes I'm like, give me the darn money. And so sometimes it doesn't get the reaction you might want, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
You don't know either how maybe they were tired at the moment or didn't react how you wanted, but later on it could affect them completely different, or you impacted them in a small way.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, so that I started living my dream then, and I'm still living that same dream. The work is bigger and more complicated now, but I still like to bless the ones in the supermarket, or I'll pass out some cigarettes to some homeless people or something. And I don't smoke anymore, but yeah, if that's what it takes to bridge the gap and reach someone. I smoke once in a while, but only in a ritual way. At the ceremonies and stuff with the shamans and stuff like that. And sometimes I like to watch the sunset and just pray with tobacco at the end of the day. That's a healthy use of tobacco. But anyway, the point is, you can start your life work and live your dream now. Now. It doesn't take a lot of money. It doesn't take a vehicle. It doesn't take a message. It doesn't take a book. It doesn't take a workshop. Right now, your presence in the world is living this dream of being in service, and you can be an activated woman, activated person right now.
That's a beautiful point, because I feel like a lot of times maybe people feel stuck in their daily job, or like they're not living their purpose. But if you really bring it back to service and, spreading more love and joy in the world, then you can just really do anything in your life.
Right. It's true. And, it's not really about what you do in this world. It's about how you do it, what the energy is that you do it with. For instance, if you're doing a day-to-day job, can you do it with presence and being in the now moment? Can you do it with beauty? Can you do it with grace? Even if it's not your plan for your life or where you want to be forever, can you be in the moment, really? And if your job is really that awful, then you got to get another job. And you could think of a job as a way to get from point A to point B. While I was building University of Metaphysical Sciences, I was working at a cash register in the mall. So when I was building the first classes and building a structure and beginning, I started University of Metaphysical Sciences with a little classic Macintosh the size of a shoebox with a little 3x5 index card kind of screen and 32 megabytes of RAM. That was big. And I had $200 to my name, and I was working at the mall and had a minimum wage job. So you just got to start. And I tried to work that job knowing that it was getting me from point A to point B. So think of the job not as something you're stuck in, it's just a transportation means to get to your future.
Love it. So you sent me one of your quotes, and it says, "You are God dreaming, exploring its own imagination, and finding out who it is. You are God on a self-exploration journey. You're not really just a human, and in fact, you are eternal consciousness dreaming that you're human for 3 blinks of an eye, and then it's over. Make this lifetime count and realize who you really are, eternal self awake in its own creation. This changes everything when you have this perspective, and nothing is impossible then." So how can we nurture the God or goddess that is within us all? That's a beautiful quote, by the way.
Thank you. It pretty much sums up my whole philosophy in a nutshell. And it really changes life if you can really just see life this way. That you are God's self dreaming. Because so many of us are taking life far too seriously. If it's a dream, it can't really hurt you. That changes a lot of things. If it's a dream, it's more fluid than you might think it is. That changes a lot of things. If it's a dream, then life is limitless. And when you live your life as if you're dreaming, and this is a lucid dream for the soul, and you live your life knowing that you're eternal consciousness, not a struggling human. When you are eternal consciousness, this changes everything. Just for this moment, really, just grok this. Just close your eyes for a moment and just imagine that you are this eternal consciousness. This eternal consciousness that is awake in a creation in its own mind. This whole thing is happening in God's mind. It's an imagination experience. And let go of your identity as a human. Let go of your name, your culture, your everything. Let go of all that. And just look at the consciousness that you are. What is this feeling of this consciousness? What is this phenomena? And notice that consciousness has no form. It has no specific identity except for that of God's self. Dreaming that it's a human. And when you look at your life this way, suddenly everything is manageable. Everything is doable. Nothing is impossible to heal because you are masterful. You are a gazillion years old. You have the wisdom since the beginning of time. And with this wisdom, with this experience, with this understanding of who you really are, your whole life is a masterpiece that you're painting right now, that you're creating and developing right now. And at the end of this lifetime, just 3 blinks of an eye, it's like a REM movement in a dream. A dream in your sleep lasts about a minute and a half. This is about how long a lifetime lasts in eternity. And as you're dreaming, you create this experience, this beautiful masterpiece that your life is. So don't see yourself as a struggling human anymore. See yourself as this masterful God self, dreaming that it's a human, dreaming that it's in this world called Earth, dreaming that it's inside of its own creation. Aho. Namaste.
Aho.
And see the difference when we just change our perspective and we're not the struggling human anymore. When we just change our perspective, it's all about where you're looking at your life from. It's all about where you're looking from, not about what you're looking at. It's about the perspective you're looking at it from. Are you looking at it from the human struggling perspective, or are you looking at it from the eternal self that's masterful? Changes everything. Makes life so much simpler. Makes life so much more enjoyable. Especially if you know, okay, when I get to the other side, my soul's gonna be like, whoo, well, that wasn't real, or dang, wish that was real if it was a good life. So to sum up that quote, it really is about policing your consciousness and changing where you're looking at your life from. Make it God washing the dishes now, instead of the human self who's like, I gotta do this chore. Make it God driving the car, God balancing the checkbook, God cleaning the litter box. You really get it. That's a true Zen challenge. To be really present in the moment in divine consciousness while you're cleaning the cat box. Really, just make everything you do a divine act. Everything.
Yeah.
And then life is different. Go ahead.
No, yeah, like we try to rush through the ordinary moments that really make up the entire day, and then the whole day is gone, and yeah, you blink and where did everything go? Like everything can't be just fun and games always, and to be
well, it can actually.
Oh, okay.
God loves to party.
Yeah. God does like to party.
God loves a good time.
It is about celebrating, yeah, and being present for the times are not so.
Yeah, there's serious moments. There's serious moments. Sometimes a moment really does suck, but they pass if you let them. And sometimes there is a moment to be serious if someone's in a healing place or a healing phase and they're changing. But you can let everything be joyful that isn't a serious moment. Why not? Why not?
Why not?
Yeah. Who wrote this rule that you got to be serious all the time to be spiritual?
I don't know.
If you really want to know the truth, I'm a big goofball. I'm, I'm really silly. But
really
I'm
feel like,
serious about the work I'm doing in this world.
yeah, I think you kind of need to be serious, or not serious. I think you need to be silly, because when you're so serious, you're kind of rigid. And I love that you said the word fluid, because then you're not
Mm-hmm.
letting things just kind of flow through. You're like, no, it has to be this way.
Mm-hmm.
Ceremony has to be this way. And, life happens. And if you're not going with the flow, then you're missing a lot of it.
Right.
Yeah, I think silliness is important to what is it? Don't be so serious, because nobody gets out of it alive.
Right.
Yeah.
It's true. Yeah, the Buddhists say, die before you die. Make peace with your mortality now, so that then you can live a fearless life and live a happy life. So many people waste so much energy on being afraid of death, or being afraid of being hurt, or being afraid of homelessness, or being afraid of losing a relation or a house or something. You're going to survive it. You will.
You're
You'll
going to
survive
survive
it.
it and probably end up stronger if you are being present and trying to learn from whatever it is that you've just gone through.
Right. You even survived death. So what's the problem?
I mean,
There
look at
was
you.
a
You have had a crazy life, and you're in Ecuador on a retreat center. That's amazing.
all started with $50 in a car, living in a car. So, and I found that it was better to live in the wilderness. For anybody who's homeless, really just put on your backpack and go hiking the trails. If you're gonna be homeless, do it that way. You can go earn $200 and take a bunch of food in with you or whatever, and then come back out. And what I used to do is I'd come out and borrow a friend's guitar, and I'd go to some city and borrow a guitar, and I'd play on the street corner for a weekend or so and earn enough money to buy some more food and then go back in the wilderness for 6 months. So it costs a little bit more than $200 for 6 months worth of food. But
Yeah.
so.
My favorite author is Starhawk, and she has this book called Walking to Mercury. And the woman in the book she goes into the mountains for, I think, like 6 months or something, and she does a mission quest. And after that, she becomes this huge spiritual teacher. And that chapter in the book, when she's just like in the mountains, is so beautiful. And I'm like, I want to go in the mountains and just like swim in the lake and be one with Mother Earth forever. And so that you've actually lived that is so amazing to me.
I have to say, it was one of the best chapters of my life. Sure, there was a lot of healing and a lot of journaling and a lot of crying and a lot of all this, but
It needs to happen. And, for you to help others get to this place of healing too, and, recognizing their God consciousness, it's really having to have lived through it.
I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't want to come back.
Oh, I'm sure.
I didn't want to come back to civilization. After 6 years in the wilderness, talk about Zen. It's easy to be Zen when you're by yourself in nature and on top of the mountain and all this. But when I was starting to develop my spiritual powers, I was seeing the auras, I was downloading a lot of stuff. And suddenly everything stopped. I was talking to the animals, I was communing with the trees and the rocks, everything. It was like highly populated out there in the wilderness. The first week was like, okay, I'm cool. I'm out here by myself in the wilderness. Second week was like, okay, I kind of wish there was somebody to talk to. Third week was like, oh my God, I'm really crazy. It was just with myself. And then the fourth week was like, everything started calming down, and I started to be like, okay, I'm in this now. And, but 6 years later, I got used to the peace, and I had done a lot of healing, and I got used to not being disturbed by the human condition of other people. And I'd meet people on the trails sometimes, or sometimes when I'd come out into the cities to play guitar or something to raise a little bit of money to go back into the wilderness, brief encounters. And I could handle humans in small doses. But then everything stopped, and I was like, oh, why am I not seeing the ores anymore? Why are the animals not coming to me anymore? Why are the trees not communicating? Why? What happened? And Spirit was like, we didn't give you all this to just hide out here in the wilderness and not share it with the world. So all of you who are in your self-creation, self-healing mode right now, realize that you're not going to be able to just hide this eventually. You have to go out and share this eventually with others. And because this is a big project, this is going to be known as the Great Awakening in the history books. And you guys are the leaders. You guys are the ones that are making this Great Awakening happen. And so I was told, you got to go back into civilization now. That's it. You're not allowed to just stay out here and be Zen for the rest of your lifetime. And oh my God, going back to civilization was so loud. And there's a 33 hertz hum almost all the time in the cities. There's a hum that's almost always happening. There's always noise. Your refrigerator is making noise. Your heater, your things are just making noise. There's the noise of the Wi-Fi now. There's the noise of the airwaves and the psychic waves of people who are near you. If you live in a city, I found I couldn't live in cities anymore because I didn't live in cities much anyway because I'm a country girl, but because there's somebody right on the other side of the wall with all their thoughts, and their psychic space was coming in to mine, and then somebody on this wall, somebody underneath, somebody above in these apartments. And I found that I couldn't get any space for my sensitivity, my psychic sensitivity. And so I realized that coming back into the city, I had to learn how to balance all the noise, quote unquote, of humanity. There's the news, there's everything going on, there's all this chaos, there's all this suffering, there's all this happiness, there's all this success, the failure, everything, and everything in between. It's chaotic, really, compared to living in the wilderness on top of a mountain. But but as I got used to it and started doing my work, then everything started coming back. All the abilities that I had gained in the wilderness started coming back. And I started being able to use this and being able to help other people through their processes. And that was what it was for. Even if I was just starting small, very small, just little steps at a time. And now I have really huge responsibilities. And I wouldn't mind going back to the times when maybe I was just passing out some cigarettes to the homeless, having a simple life.
Right, because the bottom line of the work is the same. You're still in service.
Mm-hmm. A lot of people think I live this really glamorous life, that I'm just meditating out here somewhere in the mountains of Ecuador, and it's not that. I am doing administrative grunt work for the businesses all the time. I work like 16 hours a day, really.
Yeah.
I like my work, but I'm trying to cut it down now to maybe 12 or 8.
Gotcha.
My goal is 8. Because I said to Spirit, I said, all right, no more big projects. But I do have a big project coming up. But it was just kind of like, okay, no more big projects. I just want to rest for a while. And so I am trying to find the balance. I am living this dream, and I am living my life purpose. But at the same time, once that purpose really takes off, you got to find balance between the work and the rest, and just enjoying your life too. Because what's the point if you're not enjoying your life and smelling the flowers along the way? So what happened was I got so engrossed in the work that now I'm having to try to swing the pendulum back and balance it out again. And the support is coming to help me do that, because I was doing the work of 10 people. And part of it was that I didn't delegate well. I'm not a delegator. I like to do it all my own. I can balance these checkbooks better than anybody. And it's like, no, stop. You have to, because I feel like in a way I've missed a lot of my calling, because I could have written 20 books by now. I could have made all these meditation journeys. I could have made 1,000 videos by now if I wasn't doing all this grunt work to support and maintain this life purpose manifestation in the world. So it's so important to really remember to balance and delegate and let other people help you. Every visionary needs a team, needs a support team. You can't do it by yourself. And most of the people listening to this teleconference thing, webinar, thingamajig, whatever it's called, most of the people listening to this are people who are visionaries. And if I can pass on one thing from all that I've learned at my 53 years old now, and I've been actively doing this life purpose for 20 years now, delegate. Learn how to delegate the work and get the support teams that you need. So
That's really great. Like,
yeah,
we are taught to like turn over to spirit. So why not turn some over to the people around us who can support us?
yeah, because there's a lot of people who are going to believe in your vision if it's a good vision. There's a lot of people who want to support you if you just let them. So in a way, this is a whole new level of learning how to receive. We learn how to receive at a personal level, but then at a business level, to learn how to receive is a whole different ballgame. So learn how to receive at this level when you're manifesting your life work. It's important.
That's really important, and I need to hear that. So thank you.
I need to hear that too.
I need to hear. We all need
a lot of the advice we give is advice for ourselves. So.
Okay, so our last question is, what does it mean to you to be an activated woman?
Responsibility and walking the talk. You're responsible to walk the talk now. There's a period in our life when we talk the talk and we learn the things and we experience the growth. But there comes a point in life when, especially when you're doing your life purpose and you've manifested your dreams of being in service, you have to walk the talk in so impeccable a manner because you are under the microscope. Once you're activated, once you are doing your life purpose, once you've manifested these dreams and people are looking up to you or looking to your example as to how you do it, and if you're doing it well, you are under a microscope. And if you make errors, they're going to be noticed. The masterful ones try to make their errors more secretly. Not that they don't. I make errors all the time. But I somehow can make them more gracefully than I did when I was 20. and so and more quietly than I did when I was 20. And one of the things I had to learn was really not to express impulsively with emotions. And because in this work, people are going to piss you off. They're going to challenge you, your staff, the people you're helping. And sometimes you help somebody a lot and then they turn on you, and it's just part of their growth. It's part of their path, because sometimes they have to knock over the sacred cows in order to truly come out from under the tree. And so you have to be patient with that process and not be reactionary to it. So you have to be impeccable and walk the talk in a way you've never walked before. This is not just about behaving. This is about being an example to the world of what you're teaching. You can't teach, don't get angry, and then you get angry. You can't teach, don't be depressed, but then you're depressed. You have to be able to manage your emotions and manage your thoughts in such a way that you are masterful and act like a master and act like a grown-up. So no more childish ways once you're activated. Once you're doing your life purpose, the childish ways have to be let go. And so what it means to me to be activated and to be actively manifesting a life purpose is responsibility to walk the talk, responsibility to be a good example, because all your words go out the window if you're not a good example. And I've done some things when I'm supposed to be in this position of being an example. I've done some things that I really am ashamed of. And that was my teaching. That was my lessoning. And people called me on it. Thank you to the people who called me on, hey, you're not walking your talk. And so that was the lessoning, to walk the talk. And so now, every day, my purpose is always to not only be the source of love in this world in every way I can, even the little tiny ways at the supermarket, helping somebody find a box of tea they're trying to get or something, or just having a kind word for a stranger, or a smile for a person on the sidewalk. Not only just the small ways, but the big ways too. But also every day, the purpose is, how can I improve on the example that I set in this world? And how can I walk my talk at all times? And always checking, am I walking my talk right now? Am I walking the teachings? Am I living the teachings? That is so important, because there's a lot of people out there right now who are on YouTube or wherever teaching a lot of things that they're not living. And that's not responsible. So, and no judgment, because it's a learning curve, and spirit has a way of nudging. And if you're not listening, out comes the 2x4. So, you learn one way or another.
You do.
Gently is better.
I think, authenticity is something that's emerging now for people to start living their authentic selves. And, when you're looking for spiritual teachers, that's what you're looking for. You can tell now people are being able to recognize if you're being authentic,
Right.
you're walking your talk. So yeah, I think it's really important.
Yeah, me too. It's more important than anything, because if somebody's not walking the talk, suddenly everything they're saying means nothing. So
it's true. So you have a free gift for everybody.
I do. Some meditations and courses at University of Metaphysical Sciences. You can just download those. They're free. They're part of our curriculum. It gives a person a chance to see what taking a course at University of Metaphysical Sciences would be like if they're interested. But if they're not, they're just really wonderful meditations that I made, and wonderful courses that I and my staff made that you can learn something from. So enjoy.
Wonderful. Anything else you want to share before we sign off?
Well, I think that about covers it. I just want to say, have a great life, have a good day, and make it good. Create a nice day. It doesn't just fall on your head. You just got to create this beautiful life. You got to create the beautiful day, create the beautiful life, create the beautiful moment, create the great relationship, create the great situation. Create it. You're the creator being. It's not don't just be a leaf bumping on all the rocks going down the river of life. Don't just be bumping up on everything, and you're being, steer yourself, steer your life. Get the rudder in your hand and start steering your life so that you can actually create what it is that you want. You are not helpless. You are not a victim. You are not impotent. You are a powerful creator being. And so meet your powerful consciousness and start working it. Start working it. This is the 2000s.
Yes.
We got all the tools we need to make it.
I love it. Hell yeah. I'm so pumped now.
Oh, Victoria, it was lovely talking to you. You're such a beautiful
Oh,
person.
thank you.
And I'm really looking forward to seeing what you do in life. I know you're just starting out and you're already doing beautiful things in your community and helping so many people in your classes, and it's so beautiful. And I know that now you're getting ready to expose your beautiful work to the world in a much more global way. And I wish you luck with this because
Thank
it's time now. So,
I appreciate that.
yeah.